natural transition metal, and it occurs in 7 naturally occurring isotopes, and out of these 7, 6 isotopes they are stable: osmium 184, osmium 187, osmium 188, osmium 189, osmium 190, and osmium 192. And as far as our process of oxidation is concerned, the oxidation states in case of osmium they range from -2 to +8, and out of these various oxidation states, the most common oxidation states are +1, +2, +3, +4, and +8. And the important organic oxidation reactions which can take place by osmium compounds, they are dihydroxylation of alkenes, Sharpless asymmetric dihydroxylation, amino hydroxylation, asymmetric amino hydroxylation, and then oxidation of alkynes. Now first is dihydroxylation of alkenes. This process of dihydroxylation is a very important process, because the product which are formed by dihydroxylation of alkenes by osmium reagents, they are cis products, and these cis 1,2 diols which are formed, they are very important in some natural products and biologically active compounds which can act as drugs. So osmium tetroxide catalyzed formation of these cis 1,2 diols is a very valuable reaction where we get a very good yield of the product formed, and this is generally achieved by addition of osmium tetroxide and some other oxidizing agent also. So that oxidizing agent is added because once the osmium tetroxide oxidizes the substrate, it becomes reduced osmium 6, and then this osmium 6 can again be converted into osmium 8 by the another oxidizing agent which is used during the reaction. And most commonly used oxidizing agents in addition to osmium tetroxide, they are either hydrogen peroxide, then metal chlorates, tertiary-butyl hydroperoxide, N-methyl morpholine N-oxide, then molecular oxygen can also be used as the oxidizing agent. And out of these, the most commonly used is sodium periodate and sodium hypochlorite. So these are very effective oxidizing agents which can be used for reoxidizing the reduced osmium 6 again into osmium tetroxide. So some of the examples are given over here. This decalene alkene can be converted into this type of cis diol as the product. Similarly, azulene can be reduced at this carbon-carbon bond to give us cis 1,2 diols as the product, and the oxidizing agent used again is osmium tetroxide, and the oxidizing agent is sodium sulfite over here, and this sodium sulfite will be used for converting the reduced osmium 6 again into osmium 8. Then some more examples of cis 1,2 dihydroxylation. These types of alpha beta unsaturated ketones in case of steroids, they can be converted into 1,2 cis diols, and the carbonyl group is not affected by the oxidation. The osmium tetroxide and here oxidizing agent used is hydrogen peroxide. Then this 3-hexene can be converted into 1,2 cis diols like this, and the oxidizing agent used is tertiary butyl hydroperoxide. Similarly, these types of bicyclic alkenes, they can be converted into diols as the product using KClO3 as the oxidizing agent in addition to osmium tetroxide. And as I have told you that sodium periodate is also very effectively used for different types of cis 1,2 dihydroxylation reactions, and when sodium periodate is used, then the diols which are initially formed as the product, they undergo oxidative cleavage to give us carbonyl compounds as the products. So either aldehydes or ketones, they are formed as the final product, not the diols. So this reaction, little modification because of the use of sodium periodate, the reaction is known as Lewmix-Johnson oxidation. So examples are given over here. For example, if we are having this alpha beta unsaturated ketone and this isolated ketone, isolated carbon carbon double bond, when this undergo osmium tetroxide oxidation followed by sodium periodate oxidative cleavage in aqueous acetone, the first step will be that in the first instance this will be converted into cis diol, and then that cis diol will undergo oxidative cleavage in presence of sodium periodate, and we will get these types of aldehydes as the product. Similarly in this case, so in these types of alkenes, when we are using osmium tetroxide and sodium periodate, the carbonyl group is not affected, only it undergo oxidation of the carbon carbon double bond, and in the first step osmium tetroxide will react with this methylene group and we will get 1,2 diols. Then those 1,2 diols, they will undergo reaction with sodium periodate and undergo oxidative cleavage to give us these types of ketones as the product. And then mechanism of this reaction is like this. In the first instance, the alkene will react with osmium tetroxide and an cyclic osmium ester will be formed like this. So because this is a symmetrical cyclic structure, that is why we will get cis diols as the product when this is cyclic osmium ester is hydrolyzed. But when it undergoes reaction with instead of water we use sodium periodate, then oxidative cleavage of these bonds as well as this bond will take place, and here we will get carbonyl, here also we will get carbonyl. So this is how the cyclohexene will give us this type of dialdehyde by oxidative cleavage through sodium periodate reaction. And then next is Sharpless asymmetric dihydroxylation. The dihydroxylation of alkenes, as I have told you, gives us cis diols. However, when no chiral substrate is used, we will get only racemic products. So you can see over here, any alkene when reacted with osmium tetroxide will first give us this type of cyclic osmium ester, and this on hydrolysis will give us a racemic product. But if in addition we use some chiral ligand or chiral substrate, then osmium tetroxide will first react with that chiral ligand and we will get a chiral osmate intermediate. Now this chiral osmate intermediate will react with the substrate alkene and we will get this type of optically active osmium ester intermediate, and this on hydrolysis will give us an optically active product. And most effective chiral substrates or chiral ligands which are used, they are from cinchona alkaloids, and these are esters of dihydroquinolines. So this is dihydroquinoline ester, and this is dihydroquinidine ester, and both of these esters, they act differently. One is added from the beta phase, that is top of the molecule, whereas this act on the bottom phase of the molecule, that is from the alpha phase of the molecule. So I will explain that in this slide, that if we are having an alkene of this type, where these are the three different substituents which are present. RL means large substituent, S means small substituent, and M means medium substituent. So when such is the structure of the alkene, then if this is oriented in this way, that small and medium, they are present on the one side and large is present on the other side, then out of the two chiral substrates, the dihydroquinone derivative will attack from the top side, that is beta attack will take place, and we will get these types of products. Whereas the dihydroquinoline will attack from the bottom side, that is alpha attack will take place, and we will get these types of glycols as the product. So this is an example of sharpless asymmetric hydroxylation, that when reaction takes place with this type of isolated alkene, then dihydroxylation will take place in an asymmetric fashion. In presence of beta attack, we will get this type of product, whereas in case of alpha attack, we will get this type of product, because depending upon the chiral substrate which is used, attack at the face of the carbon-carbon double bond will take place either from the top end or from the bottom end. The next reaction is amino hydroxylation. So this is the same as dihydroxylation, only difference being that one of the hydroxyl is replaced by amino. So here the substrate alkene is reacted with chloramine, and in presence of chloramine we will get first these types of sulfonamides as the products, and these sulfonamides on reaction with the sodium in liquid ammonia, they are reduced to these types of amino alcohols as the product, which are optically active. Then similarly, if we are having cyclohexene, then these types of antosyl cyclohexyl compounds, they are formed, and then on reduction with sodium in liquid ammonia, we will get amino alcohols as the product. So the product formed, they are cis 1,2 hydroxyl amines after reaction with sodium in liquid ammonia. But this reaction shows poor regioselectivity for unsymmetrical alkenes. For symmetrical alkenes, it is okay when both the groups R and R1 they are same, or this is also a symmetrical alkene. But when we use unsymmetrical alkenes, the regioselectivity shown by the reaction is poor. Then the mechanism of this reaction is that in the first step, osmium tetroxide reacts with the chloramine, and we will get this type of amido trioxoosmium 8 complex, and then this amido trioxoosmium 8 complex then interacts with the alkene, and we first get this type of 4-membered ring, which is then undergo reaction with one of the osmium oxygen double bond, and we will get this type of 5-membered cyclic osmate ester intermediate, which on hydrolysis gives us these types of tosyl amino hydroxyl substrates, and these on reaction with sodium in liquid ammonia, the tosyl group is removed and we will get hydroxylamines, 1,2-hydroxylamines as the product. Then asymmetric amino hydroxylation can also be achieved in the same way as we have seen in case of dihydroxylation of amines. So here also dihydroquinoline and dihydroquinidine, they can act as substrates, and only difference is in case of dihydroxylation, this R was either alkyl or acyl group, but here this is phthalosine group which is attached as R. So this is the difference between these two chiral substrates which are used for asymmetric amino hydroxylation reactions. So mechanism is same as we have seen in case of asymmetric dihydroxylation reaction. So here also this beta attack will lead to the formation of these products, where because in case of dihydroxylation both the groups they were hydroxyl groups, so that is why only one product was formed. But here we know that N tosyl group is present, so N tosyl group can either get attached to this carbon or to this carbon, so that is why we will get mixture of two products in each case over here, either when the beta attack take place or alpha attack take place. In both the cases we will get a mixture of two products depending upon that this N tosyl group gets attached to which of the carbon. Then one more example of asymmetric amino hydroxylation. So this alpha beta unsaturated ester on reaction with osmium tetroxide and chloramine gives us these two products when DHQD is used, or these two products when DHQ is used, depending upon whether the beta attack takes place or alpha attack takes place at this carbon-carbon double bond, whereas this ester group is not affected by this reaction. Then last is oxidation of alkynes. Alkynes, they react with osmium tetroxide in presence of tertiamines such as pyridine to give us these types of osmium 6 ester complexes, and these osmium 6 ester complexes on hydrolysis with sodium sulfide, they can be converted into these types of diketones as the product. And the substituted alkynes, they will give us these types of ketones, whereas terminal alkynes, they can give us carboxylic acids as the product. So you can see over here acetylene will give us this type of product where one part is carbonyl and other part is carboxylic acid. So these are the reactions of osmium tetroxide with different types of functional groups. Thank you very much. So these are the references which have been used for preparing this lecture. Thank you.